What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful Saturday. I know I am. Well, I will be after I get all my chores out of the way. I have new carpeting getting installed on Monday, and I have to move literally everything in my house. It's going to be a nightmare. That said, a couple weeks ago, I've basically been following the Disney Mulan disaster for several weeks now, and it's a new interesting article came out on Business Week. Now, remember that Disney just laid off 30,000 park employees. Disney also refused to film in Georgia because of the pro-life type laws, but are happy to work with the Chinese government, which treats minorities by putting them into internment camps or re-education camps. This is the mindset, right? If there's enough money to be made, all of a sudden morals are no longer relevant. And this new article from Business Week kind of points that out, saying Disney defended its cooperation with government entities accused of terrible behavior in China's Xinjiang region, saying the company had to work with the government in order to make the films there. Well, you didn't have to make the film. You also could have filmed it where you filmed the rest of it, as you filmed much of it, I think, in New Zealand, if I'm correct. And it's just outright baloney. Now, we now know that Mulan was a complete box office disaster, Disney losing several $100 million, and it couldn't have happened to worse people. Now, I want to say that I do hold out hope that movie night will be restored, that going back to the movie theater will be a thing people have confidence to do sooner than later, because I'm not sure how much longer they'll be able to hold out. I mean, Regal Cinemas have already shut down. They gave up on 2020, and who knows how long into 2021. AMC theaters are rumored to have less than 6 months cash on hand and are burning through money at an incredibly alarming rate. They are set to default on many of their loans. And what happens then, right? You're already 50% owned by China. Are you just going to sell out completely to China and get out of the business? What does that mean? And what does that mean to the tens of thousands of theater workers who use the money to pay for college textbooks or to, get their first car or, whatever the case is? Look, at most movie theaters have kids working at them, younger people, or people that just want some part-time cash. But it's still an important revenue generator for a lot of people. As much as I hate Hollywood, it would be nice to see some good films come out of Hollywood, not live action remakes. And we can take a look at some of those responses, of course. How about Disney produces a documentary on those camps? Slave labor, pollution, and climate change by the CCP. Cooperating when you don't agree is an opportunity to educate, change minds, and create common ground. Disney has brought an amazing true story to millions through this work, and I believe they made difficult and correct choices. 14 replies, 1 favorite. Literally nobody stands with Disney on this. And look, I want to be also very clear that obviously this has nothing to do with Chinese people, and especially Chinese Americans or Chinese, Westerners. They don't have anything to do with it. But you can also strongly dislike the CCP and their government. I mean, just the other day during the presidential elections, they censored out the part where Mike Pence was asked about China. I mean, this is a government that openly and actively censors and hides and controls its people. It controls its people how much time they can play video games, literally. It says how much money they can spend playing video games, literally. And even if that wasn't bad enough, they have actual camps with somewhere around 1 million Muslims in them. And who knows what they're doing to them. They are re-educating them. What does that mean? Nobody really knows. We know that Chinese officials men are sleeping with the wives of these men that are in the camps. We know that they're shaving their heads. We know that they're doing all sorts of other things. We also know that China has never been really forthcoming about certain health information and things like that. So there's a lot of reasons to dislike their government. Now, the people that live there don't have any real control over that. And so, I think it's reasonable to try and separate the two. Now, I've never been a fan of live action remakes. I've never been a fan of really big Hollywood boring blockbusters. I mean, I'm on record even talking about how I'm over Marvel films. There's no stakes in them. They can just go back in time and revive everybody and then poof, it's fine. Or like, we saw the ending with Black Widow and the choice that she made. And now there's a brand new Black Widow movie out. Now it's set before that, but I don't know. Without having some sort of finality with these characters, it's like when you're watching them fight Thanos, you're not even worried about them surviving. Except for, of course, Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., which I think was probably, to me, the most moving part of the film, because finally there were some actual consequences. Not that I want them to not be in the movies, but you get what I'm saying. So now Disney, this is October 9th. Disney says it had to work with Chinese government on Mulan. No, they didn't. Disney defended its cooperation with the government entities accused of the bad behavior in Xinjiang region. Quote, there are regulations that must be followed by all foreign film production companies wanting to operate in China. Again, wanting to. You didn't have to film this in China at all. Sean Bailey, president of Disney's film studio, said in October 7th letter to two British politicians, quote, these companies are not allowed to operate independently and must partner with Chinese production company, which is responsible for securing all film permits. Disney's release Mulan, a $200 million live-action remake with the company's 1998 animated hit last month. With the coup keeping many people in the United States and Europe out of movie theaters, the company made the film available for $30 to Disney Plus subscribers who didn't want to wait till Christmas when they get it for free. Now it's also available. I saw it available on like YouTube and other platforms too already. Within hours of its release, eagle-eyed viewers saw the company thank several entities in Xinjiang where the government had been accused of oppressing the country's Muslim minority of Uyghurs. The letter was addressed to Ian Duncan Smith, a member of the House of Commons, and Baroness Helena Kennedy of the House of Lords, and it came in response to their query. Duncan released it on Twitter. Disney said the film is a celebration of female empowerment based on a 1,500-year-old Chinese poem. The scenes in Xinjiang amount to just 78 seconds and were done to capture the region's dramatic desert scenery and historic Silk Road. Most of the movie was shot in New Zealand. Well, you could have shot the whole thing in New Zealand. Like, these are choices that Disney made, right? This is a choice. The company said its partner, Chinese partner, Beijing Shadow Times, began submitting film permits in 2017 before the U.S. or U.K. government had even issued risk advisories or policy rulings regarding the region. The decision to film on these locations was made by the film's producers to film in the interest of authenticity, and in no way was influenced by or dedicated by the state or local Chinese officials. Disney released the film theatrically in overseas markets where it doesn't offer the Disney Plus service and has taken in $66 million globally, two-thirds of that from China. Last year's remake of The Lion King took in $116 million in China alone. China didn't even want to see it. And I think there's actually like another version of Mulan that's already in Chinese theaters. Now, I don't know overall what capacity is like in Chinese theaters right now. I'm going to guess that it's still pretty light, but I don't care. Disney made a conscious decision to film there. They made a conscious decision to thank them at the end of the film. They made conscious decisions for the main actress in Mulan to take off all of her armor on the battlefield, which makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. They made conscious decisions to turn the main actress into a Mary Sue and give her superpowers. And honestly, the Chinese didn't even like the film. It was largely panned by most of their local reviews. So get woke, go broke, I suppose, applies here. Disney, I really hope that these times will bring about a return to actually caring about your consumers that built your company. But if it doesn't, then I won't miss you. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.